Welcome to Nevada Real Estate Post. I'm your host, Jeff, and we have a special guest today.
I'm John Roanoke with Hull Western Mortgage.
Cool. So what we want to talk about, well, first, what we want to talk about is
The impact of Charlie Kirk, his death. You know, it's been I know it's been weighing on me pretty heavy.
It's been trouble for me and my family, my kids too.
Yeah.
I was surprised.
You know, I've got a lot of friends that have called me on that too. And, you know, with seeing what happened with the realtor board and this guy posting that stuff, I'm so glad he was removed from the board, because that is definitely not my view at all.
Right. And it looks like all realtors are thinking this way. And that's just not, I'm not okay at this point.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's part of one of the negative things about social media is you can say whatever you want.
Exactly. And everybody groups us all into one group sometimes. And
then you just start to hers it together, and you know, that could even be your feelings, or, you know, you might not even know this person.
Exactly. So, but what we wanted to go over a lot today too was market trends.
And a lot of stuff changing and happening right now.
It is. There's a lot of stuff changing. Some of the key things that we both have here, and so we can kind of talk about it, is, you know, inventory has been rising. You know, you may have heard this on the media. I don't know. Maybe you haven't.
Yeah.
Media's been going up. Or
over the last couple of months, there have been a higher percentage of people listing their homes, right?
Absolutely. Well, summertime comes up, and that's a typical norm for summertime.
Right.
People listing. The problem is there isn't the buyers that are.
Well, so I was going to say, because I work with a lot of buyers. So are they're listing all these properties? Are they selling them? Are they driving prices down? Is anything changing with that?
Yeah, and we're not seeing that. I mean, here's some of the stats we got here. Single-family homes listed without an offer grew by 37% compared to a year ago. I mean, that's a huge jump up.
Yeah, so then are the listings real, or is it someone just fishing to say, hey, if we can get this, we'll sell our house?
I think that, well, you know, here's the thing. You always have those people that do that.
Right.
And depending if the market's going up a little bit, and we've trended up for a few years, as you know, as the market goes up, those people will eventually sell. You know, if they're reasonable, they're right, not crazy out of price. Right. But they'll always trend up. Well, now these people thinking that that's what's going to happen because money's the motivator, and now it's not happening, you know. But your real sellers that are motivated to change jobs, went to another state, or have to do something, you know. Kids all moved out of the house and they're downsizing and they really want to do it, so they're motivated, or even whatever their situation is.
Right.
Those people sell their homes. Those are the ones selling. So, I mean, but that's normal. Now, here's another one. The condos, we just talked about 37% with the houses. Condos rose by 56%. I mean,
that makes sense to me, because in my side, what I'm seeing more of is the condos and the townhomes are more in the affordable range for somebody maybe moving from a rental into their first home. A lot of people are using condos or townhomes to do that.
But this is say without offers, though.
And that's wild. How is there that many without? Or is there that many more listings of those?
Well, that's what this, their whole percentage went up altogether. Yes, that's what that is. So.
Yeah.
But well, with that too, interest rates have been so high for so long, right? Which is another topic. I mean, what have you seen the interest rates at until more recently? What have you seen them out, say, the previous year before that?
Yeah, I mean, conventional stuff, we've been around, you know, 7 or low 7s. You know, high 6s when we get a good rate drop. FHA, VA, seen in the 6.5, you know, range, and it had been 6.625 there. Recently, in the last 2 weeks, we've seen a drop where we've seen the FHA and the VAs have come down to, you know, I was looking at 6, and even for somebody, I had, you know, 5.75. I was quoting somebody last week for an FHA. So for an FHA loan out, so, you know, I just put a guy in a huge super jumbo, like a large VA loan for 6.25. Wow. Which, you know, traditionally that's lower than it's been over the last 2 years. And obviously for the 4 years before that, everyone thought we're always going to have a 3% interest rate.
You know, and this was something I pulled a couple of days ago, some of these stats, where it even said in there that you know, they were at 6.25 to 6.7.
Yep.
And you and I were just talking, you know, this morning. And what did you see this morning?
It was great. I got to call a client. We got a possibility of saving them about $500 a month on their payment.
Wow.
Because we could take them down to 6.125 on their $500 a month. $500 a month. That's huge. That's pretty good savings.
I think so. Or for a buyer that's out there looking, how much that's a huge affordability.
That changes the affordability. With us coming down to, with us being in the lower to 6.5 to 6 1/8 on conventional loans, and 6 to 5.75 on FHA and VA, it is changing the purchasing power. Yeah, it's definitely doing it. And they're talking, if we drop to where the main rates are around 5.75, it's going to open up affordability for a ton of people, and that's going to change the market again. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And what happens? We're interesting enough. We don't know if this is going to happen. Prediction possibly. We discussed that with Trump making housing a crisis.
I thought that was an interesting move last week when he did that. Yeah, and we're going to see. I saw a pretty strong social media guy last night posted out about that they're talking about maybe reinstituting a federal buying program for the treasuries again. Yeah, if they do that, that's what they used during COVID and during the emergency crises to manage the interest rates and got them down in that 3 and low range where housing was very affordable. And that's why we had such a big housing boom during COVID times, because they artificially bought those. So my thinking is, maybe that's why they declared an emergency, so that the White House could take a little bit more control over the interest rates. But, we don't know that yet. We're going to see what comes out over the next couple of weeks.
Sounds like a great prediction of the app.
Hey, it'd be wild if it did. It'll change the market again.
Yeah,
and it will open up affordability and get the housing industry moving in a significant way.
Well, all that rise in inventory that we were just talking about, referring to, it would gobble that inventory up because people could afford to buy those homes now.
That's where we'd see it'd be something hugely different.
Yeah. I mean, it would change. But as of right now, the way it stands is you've got these sellers that have been on the market for a while, and they're not selling, as we just talked about. Right. They aren't selling. We're starting to see, from my end, I'm seeing there are people that are dropping their price, and those are the ones that really have to sell.
Right. I see if I have to do something, then that's not getting any action or traction. Where we're at now.
Correct. I mean, that's all right. Get me curious. Yeah, they've been on the market for a long time and haven't even done anything.
Right.
Then that they're just in it for the money.
Right. Yeah,
but the ones that you've seen a price drop or so on, how much negotiation do you have there? If you were a buyer, they're out there. I mean,
write an offer, you got to see it.
Offer to, and, even if they pay closing costs for you, I mean, that could be a huge amount. I mean, how much is closing costs?
That's what I've ever seen. On a $500,000 house, you're going to be, 2.5 to 3% on closing costs.
Yeah.
So that's huge. And, with FHA and VA, you get like 6%. With conventional, you're limited on how much you can get for the contribution. But, speaking of that and getting a seller contribution, we've seen a lot of houses in the $400,000 range where if we use Home is Possible to get them 4% grant towards their down payment and closing costs. Okay. And we get, a $10,000 or $12,000 seller contribution. I have somebody walking in for putting their earnest money down and paying their appraisal fee. No. And they get a refund of some of that back in some cases.
So what is Home is Possible? How do I qualify for this? What is
Home is Possible? Is an awesome program. It's a down payment assistance program provided for by the government and administered by the Nevada Housing Division.
Okay.
All of us who offer that program have the same rates and the same rules we have to follow. People need at least a 640. It's better with a 680 on their credit scores.
Okay.
So it's great to talk with the lender and see where you're positioned and then see what's available for you. All the buyer has to do to get Home is Possible is take a 2-hour online class.
Okay. They're required. Is this for somebody just a first-time buyer only, or is this and anybody can go get this program?
That is a great question. Here in Nevada, the way it works is there are a certain portion of those funds that are for first-time home buyers.
Okay.
And then we also have some programs that are available with down payment assistance if you have a current home somewhere else, or you have another home somewhere, or you just sold it.
So not in this area.
Because to qualify for a first-time home buyer, you have to not have owned a home in the last 3 years.
Okay.
So, but there are some programs for people who have owned and aren't first-time home buyers. So we have different options across the board.
Now, this one you brought up where they do all that, are they income-based into? I'm assuming they're going to be income-based.
They do. Different parts of the programs have different income requirements. Some of them are, you can make up to $97,000. Some of them are you can make up to $165,000 per household.
Now,
we have to analyze, it really getting with a lender who understands how these program works and how to work with you to understand your situation to see what applies best is something that's huge. Even if you don't take advantage of it, it always makes sense to look at it.
Well, yeah. Absolutely. I mean, take a look at it, and even if you don't qualify, because you may have the money, but if you can save that money,
Right.
do it. And rather than, we just talked about the seller paying your closing costs or getting them to do that, if you can get one of his Holiness Possible programs to do it, rather than the seller pay that, maybe the seller will come down on price. I mean, everything's negotiable.
Right. No, it makes it wide open. And it's, like I said, the nice thing about it is it's not, a labor intensive opportunity on the buyer. Okay. We do most of the work. They always have to take a class.
How long does a program like that take to close should they do the class before they go out and find the house?
Well, the class is typically good for 6 months.
Okay.
So they need that for 6 months. We typically close loans in 20 to 25 days. I like to do it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Even if it's longer, typically a lock with the housing division will be 45 or 60 days.
Okay.
So you do have time. And being that the class takes about 2 hours, I like people to do it ahead of time. That way, when they come to me, they could have some questions.
Makes sense.
Otherwise, we do it the same way. Take the class. Let's get on after you have the class. Tell me you got your certificate. Great. What questions do you have that class brought up?
Perfect.
Because people don't know, and a lot of people get intimidated asking questions.
Okay, big question for you, and I truly don't know the answer to this. That down payment assistance, is that coming from grants that come in, or is this something like that's a silent loan on the back that you have to pay back when you sell the house?
So it's a combination of both.
Okay.
The housing division will say it's a grant.
Okay.
But all the programs except for like the teacher program, the first responders programs, they still are forgivable after 5 years.
Okay.
It forgives about 20% a year.
So you got to stay in the house for 5 years.
And you have to stay in the house for 5 years, and then it'll wipe out. It'll still list as a silent second, is what it'll look like.
Yes.
But you don't make any payments on it.
And there's no interest accruing on it?
Correct.
Okay.
The housing division, regular program, say I get 4% for my house. It's a $300,000 house. I get $12,000. That's great. When I refinance or when I sell the house or when I change title on the house, I will be responsible for paying that $12,000 back. So it's free money for a period.
Yeah.
Not free money like everyone used to say it was.
Yeah. No, I've seen plenty of those programs, and they're not bad because it saves you the money, gets you into a house. And usually in 5 years, I mean, let's face it, most homes have gone up enough to cover that.
Plus the idea
to make you money and everything else. Yeah. So saves you the money out of the pocket instead of, say, borrowing that down payment from,
right.
Family, friends, relatives, like you see people do, or
Getting it as a gift.
So
Don't borrow.
yeah. So gifts is way better.
We borrow from John, now from our family.
Yes. So, but these are great programs to get you into a house. And with the rates coming down, I mean, it's a prime time for a buyer to jump in there. We're looking at rates coming down. We've got a plethora of inventory.
Right. Right now, it was super good time to get with a lender and start seeing what you can qualify for and getting with a great realtor and finding out what's available.
Excuse me, like you said,
A lot of realtors, they get people. I see people moving slower in the market now than they had in the past. And that's with some interest rate uncertainty, with some housing and price uncertainty and inventory uncertainty. I really encourage people. You get working with people for the long haul, and that's an investment on our part. They need to find an agent like yourself who would work with them, whether they're going to buy tomorrow or in a year, and really understand what they need to understand about the market. Because every buyer doesn't need to understand everything about the market and about the lending.
correct.
But they need to be comfortable where they're at to know that their team is providing great care for them.
Well, a great thing too is if you're considering buying, thinking about it, set up a consultation appointment with us. I mean, we have to sit down with you and go over stuff. And I understand everybody's researching or watching these videos and they're seeing this online.
Right.
And they're gaining a knowledge in themselves, which is fantastic because that allows, those people are great when I meet those people because they come in with a list of questions all ready to go and we can answer them. Or if I don't know the answer, I'm going to go find them.
Yep.
But we will answer those questions so that they feel more comfortable with that decision because it's a huge.
And they know what's going on. It is typically, most people, it's their largest purchase of anything.
Correct.
For their household over their lifetime.
Correct.
So, we got to treat it respectfully as well.
Exactly. Make sure it's the right. And I've met with some people where it's just this isn't the right time for them. You know, maybe 6 months down the road, maybe they have a family situation that's going to be changing in the future. So it's like, okay, let's wait.
100%. Yeah.
Or maybe their credit isn't where it is. So you work with them on a.
Well, that's one of the things, and the best things is we had with one of the better things with us moving over to All Western Mortgage with my company and my team and my branch rather is that All Western, we have our own credit restoration department.
Nice.
So we don't say, hey, you know what, we're real close, Jeff. I'm going to send Joey over to Vinny and see if he can get his credit up here in the next 6 months and see what can happen.
And then Vinny breaks everybody's knees just to get the credit.
And he's paying Vinny $100 a month, and we don't know if we can reach him or we can. Now we have a department. We send it. We get professional communication. We get a step-by-step plan on how to get a client where they want to be. And then it's up to them. Yeah. Either they do it or they don't, or they do it now or they don't. Exactly. So, it's really, we try to empower our clients to, make the best decisions for themselves.
Well, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've been doing this for a lot of years, and you don't stay, and so have you. Yeah. And you don't stay doing this if you're in it for yourself. I mean, right. that would kill everything, right?
No, it doesn't work.
You have to be focused on what is best for that person, serving and caring for it. Well, that's how you grow your business. That's it. That's how. I mean, any business out there. That's how you grow the business. Not a secret. Yeah, it's not a secret of business. So, but you take care of your people and do the right thing for them.
Yes,
and make sure that decision's good for them.
Right.
And that's through a consultation. We meet, we go over a consultation, we set up a time, and then we sit in my office or your office.
Yeah.
And just go over everything, go over the paperwork, right? And see if there's anything we need to strategically set up to make that purchase happen.
Because every buyer has some sort of unique situation.
Well, they're all unique.
And or you want to understand my situation. Let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
We've experienced a lot. We've been doing this for a while. Yes. So yeah, we had solutions, and everybody, the answer for everybody might not be, okay, go buy tomorrow. It might be we have to set a plan and a path, and here's what we need to do to get you there. And that's okay.
Yeah. No, that happens all the time. That's a normal thing.
Right.
That people, because let's face it, through COVID, people jacked up credits.
Yep.
Their credit cards are maxed. Their scores are down because of it.
Yeah.
What do we need to do to drive those credit scores up so we can get a better interest rate
and get them back on track? Exactly. And that's the nice thing about the credit. Talking about the credit and interest rate, the department isn't just used for somebody who had, the worst that can happen to them happen, and they're at like a 500 and they need to qualify.
Mm-hmm.
I have credit look at, if I have somebody at a 700 because it's 720 or 740, they might get a better price. We're going to look at that.
Yes.
Say, hey, if you do this tweak or that tweak, we can get you a better price.
Yeah.
People are happy to do that. Plus, it provides an extra level of, analyzation and care for them.
Yeah, exactly. No, I completely agree. So, and going back, I mean, if you're a seller, if you need to sell, you have to sell.
You got to do it.
And that's where we come in too and help you strategically set up your home in this market to sell. Because you don't want to be at a point coming on the market where it's continuing to go down. And I'll give you examples. I saw this when, say, years and years ago when the market crashed in 2008.
Right.
I saw this many times where people would go, well, I want $300 for my house. And it's like, no, your home's worth $280. Well, it was worth $300. Well, now it's at $280. And you actually need to price it at $270.
Because in 2 weeks, it's going to be $260.
Exactly.
If it keeps going the way it's going now.
And what happened was these people chased the market down and they're just behind it. So you need somebody that's going to go out there and explain and know market conditions like this. That's going to show you what's happening, show you the trends,
right?
So that you can see. You always hear the term, I need to stay in front of the trends.
Yes.
And that's what it takes.
How do you do that? Yes. You have the best qualified professionals you can have to work with.
Exactly.
And get you the best information.
You stay in front of those trends. So that's where if you're just pricing your home out just to see what you can get for it, you're diluting the market.
Clouding it up.
Right. You're just clouding it up is all you're doing. In fact, it makes it worse for everybody else because then they see how many homes are on the market, and they go, the market's crashing, look at all these homes on the market, when it's really not.
And to be able to get a deal.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's a huge percentage that'll never sell anyway. That aren't interested. That's good for the trend down there.
Right.
Stuff like good story. Yeah. So you need to be careful and have a professional come in and really, like myself, come in there and show you those trends and show you where the pricing is, where you should be at.
And not just today, but like you said, 30, 60 days, what are you expecting? What are you seeing? So that we know we're not going to go put a house on the market that's way overlisted or way underlisted.
Well, and one of the things too is I sit down with somebody, what are their goals when they move? I mean, is it only take the money and run, or is it I would need to move here and I need X amount of money to do that?
To do it, right. So are they staying here? Are they going elsewhere in the country? Who knows? But yeah, with that, we need to figure out and plan accordingly. So it's not just about this, it's about that.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's the
Because I've had plenty of people in the past where now is just not the right time for them. They're not going to get the money they need to go to the area they're at, because we'll do the research on that area where they're moving to and see what the pricing is there and what the loan ability is there. Talk to somebody there that's familiar with it, right? And if it's not possible, it's not possible. I mean, then why make the move now? Or is there a way of strategically set that up to make that happen? Or can we make an improvement on their house where we can get a little bit more money?
right.
Stuff like that. So those options are out there, and that's something I sit down with them and
And what gets them where they want to be or need to be.
exactly. So if you are interested in selling or buying, be sure to give one of us a call. Our numbers, I'm going to put them on the screen right about here. So all of our information, that way you'll see them. And everyone out there, make it a great day.